Good morning, traders. Who's ready to get back to the action? And guys, I'm in it right now in a trade. The question is it going to be a green trade or not? I'll tell you one thing, 1,000 shares deep. So let's get focused. Let's get right to the trading action. Today's going to be a little bit of a price action show. That's what I'll say, because due to, of course, the elections coming tomorrow, and we won't really know until Wednesday. And then, of course, we got FOMC meeting Thursday. There's going to be a lot to take a look at in the market, but it will really come towards the later part of the week. So what we're going to be looking at more is what's moving right now. So I'm looking even at the penny names. I was able to make a good amount of money on NUWE. You guys see it on my screen right now. I'm back in it right now. I got in it at 235 there. We just saw a recent spike to 245. We still could pull back to 215 here. So I'm focused in, ready to get to the trading action. Let's go. Let's go. Yes, I'm with you on the Go Titans, but the only problem is, this is a Henry jersey, and you guys sold my man out. Should have paid the man, but let's get right to the trading action. It's Trade the Pool. We got a lot to take a look at. We'll take a look and talk about what's going on with Warren Buffett. And why does he not like Apple anymore? We'll talk about it. It's Trade the Pool. Hugo wants 200, baby. You ready to get back to the trading action?
You aim, you shoot, and make money.
It's going to be a great day. You guys know where you're at. What up out there, traders? How we doing? Let's get right to the trading action. I'm in a trade, so you know how it is. It's a fast market out there. Let's go focus in and see what we can come up with. Of course, you guys know I've been getting back into it and in another limited account and trying to get after it, right? I think it's the best opportunity that we have for you guys right now. So if you're missing out on this, I don't know what you're doing, but definitely smash it up out there, guys. We'll take a look at the different action in the market this morning, but it's already moving here. Let's get it started. It's Trade the Pool, guys. Hit it up. All right, so first up, NUWE, guys, and it was a little bit of a back and forth day. Right now, you guys see it. I'm down about 45. It's down there to about 230s on the bid here. Watching it here. I got a bidder here around 6,200. I'm seeing Apple move a little bit. I'm looking into the market. I'm seeing the Qs bounce a little bit. We're looking all around to see what's moving here. ADN is another one I'd put on alert for those smaller names, guys. This was one that I got to give myself that, hey, Mitch, you misplayed this one. And this was not played right. Why? Because I just didn't get in. I was looking to get in on this 246 entry. It eventually came back all the way back to that level, even back to 240s. Now getting ready for the 3 pop, ADN on the move. Now there is one that I did get caught in that I did get a hit on. I'm going to be watching to see what happens on there. NUE is hitting me right now. I might get out of that one, guys. You guys can see right now I'm actually up 154 on the day. I made a good $200 trade on NUE earlier from 250 to 269. Looking at the action here, NUE eventually got out of that trade, went back in it, lost a little bit here. Now trying to set up for another trade here. We'll see what happens on NUE. BSTE is the one that cost me a little bit here. And we'll see what happens with this one. I think this one could still come back, guys. BSTE is starting to get back there towards 8. I got out of it because I was closer towards the 780s, and I was just like, you know what? This is too much risk for a spread that's widening out. I'm getting out of there. Now taking my shot at NUE. We'll see how it turns out. And right now, it isn't looking the best. It's dark. It's definitely hitting me right now, even as I'm talking. So let me stop talking and let me focus in here. Definitely don't want it to get through that 220 spot. 226 was really the area that I want to see it hold and then start to come back here. If it comes back through this 220s, really got to get rid of it. So got to get ready to get rid of it here. All right, 1,000 shares, and it's definitely harder in the pre-market, right? One of the things that I would say in the pre-market is you really got to respect your ultimate risk, right? Because when things start fading away in the pre-market, it can be really easy ways to really get cut, right? So We'll see what happens there, guys. And there's a lot to talk about. We'll get to some of the major names in a second. Watching the penny action this morning because it's moving around. I'm talking about different names out there, and I'm looking around to see what else is making a move. I'm seeing a COHN up about 3% in the last 5 minutes, and you got to have scanners a lot of the times to catch these moves. So you got to be really quick and looking for a big, what I look for is a stock that's up big in the pre-market and big in the last 5 minutes. Those two things are going to tell me momentum is there. All right, guys, NUE really needs to get that bounce now. I've been at 235. I could add to this name, but there's no reason to add. If I can get another spike toward 240s, 245s, that could be the area to maybe take an add here. We'll see if it starts to get that little spike back here, but if not, got to let it go here, and then we'll look to get back in, right? If I can take a hit here, I can go right back towards just being a little bit above break even. I'm just looking to expand the trade. I'm up about 300 on the account. I was up to about like 340s. So looking to see if this NUWE can get back up there. I was up about $100 on this. For a second there, it looked like it was going to pop through the 250, and then the show was about to start. Then I was trying to get ready, and you know how it is, guys. Trading indefinitely and going live at the same time is always hard. Catching up out there, guys. ADN breaking out. Yeah, we'll take a look at the TLT. I got you. We got it, Kevin. We'll take a look at that action. ADN, yeah, getting that break through the threes, right back up there to the 340s. I like this one. I just liked it at 246 on this pullback, and then it came back to the 240s. So we still got another opportunity after it broke out of that. 15-minute chart was pretty much more what this was trading on, the 5-minute, and it pulled back towards this kind of like symmetrical triangle hold. Now I'm looking for pullbacks to 3 to hold, of course, as it just broke above 3. Let's see if it held a $3 pullback yet. No, it just went breaking through towards 340s. Let's see if it does a quick pullback towards the 9 EMA, which is 301 here, and then maybe a pop back here. But ADN already getting the motors going. All right, keeping a very close eye on that NUWE. It might cut me out right here, guys, and we'll see what happens. I still like this one if it can make its way back to 245. There's a big seller at 250. That's one thing I'll give you guys the insight on. That's where I see a lot of the action there. But look at the size here at the 220s, 23,000 shares there waiting underneath it. So I got to be paying attention here, guys. There's going to be a little bit of an action here, and we got to be safe, right? That's the important part here. We'll see if we can get this to start really moving. Back to 235. If I wanted to, I could just cut out to the position or get downsized in the position. You know, it's been a little bit of a mixed battle and trying to figure out the sizing necessary for the smaller limited account. But one thing that I'm trying to do is just swing for it. And that's what's important. Like even on Friday, guys, I actually ended up cutting out of a trade on one of these kind of penny names, and it just got me on the stop loss, and it was a green trade. I made like $100-$200, but if I would have just left it break even, it was another $500-$600 trade. So that's what I think I need to be focused on more and more. It's just trying to take the swings here and go for the evals, because the truth is, at the end of the day, if you're going for the evaluations, you have to take shots, right? It's not about just being like, you know, just barely just trying to take risk, right, and trying to get there. It's very hard to get to the end goal. I think you need to kind of maybe just go, you know, gas pedal when you see it, though. That's the important thing, is understanding when's the day for the gas pedal, when's the day not for the gas pedal. It can't be every single moment gas pedal, and that's where the timing part comes into play, right? Oh, how we doing out there? It's good to see you guys in the chat. What's going on? Say hello, guys. What's up? What's up? Is that Jarn here? Jam. What's up? What's up? Jamming out, man. Let's get to the action. Let's try to find some good stocks out there. All right. Here we go. A message from Kevin here. I'm generally bearish on the market short term because of the negative divergence on the McLean summation index. Ooh, look at you bringing out a good indicator there. It's an interesting conversation there. And I think that one thing that you need to be looking at is, yeah, we're definitely on some kind of pullback, right? I think what this would be called more is a correction. And the correction came fast, and it came early into last week. It was more in Wednesday's action, where the next day we were already down, right? Down there towards the 486. Do we get continued correction action? right? Or will we just bounce higher? I think we could have kind of a mixed day where we could come down towards the 484s, yet still approach the 490s. I think that we're going to be stuck between a range right now between kind of the 490 area. So this kind of closing action here, 489.50s, you could say 490s just to make it easy, right? And then the 484 area on the downside. I think that, this is a type of week that a lot of times we trade sideways. And I think that that's what I'll be looking for. Nothing that's going to tell me too much. They don't want to give us too much insight on what's going to happen. The market doesn't know what's going to happen. And that's why I'm a little bit concerned about NNE. I think this could go further down. It did get the bounce, right? Back into right before the elections. Now, right before the elections, it could take a major hit. Maybe back down towards 16 and 15s. And then we need to see what happens in the election. Because if it's Trump winning, I could see this back towards 27 really quickly. If it's, of course, Kamala winning, well, then we need to be watching to see what happens on NNE. I think it might actually take an overnight hit. So that's where it gets very difficult, guys. Be careful out there. We just need to kind of keep watching the action to see what happens here. All right, guys, NUWE not going anywhere, guys. I'm still seeing that big bidder, and I'm being a little bit concerned because as we get closer to the open, what makes more sense is the market maker to kind of take that share size, wash it down out the open, and then look to see if it does like kind of a red to green recovery. So at this point, I'm looking for it to come right back up through the 230s. But if it doesn't make that move quickly here, probably just going to have to cut it, get in, out. That's the important thing. You got to be willing to let go of the stock. Sometimes even taking a loss is the better move than taking a bigger loss, right? You have to be willing to let it go sometimes. What's up out there? How we doing? It's good to see you guys in the chat. Good morning to you guys. Let's see what else is out there. Was that the last trade when you had the dip out that shot up? On which one? Scott, I think that was, yeah, I think you were here on Friday when we were looking at that one. And that was a smaller name. And it was a stock that a lot of people were like, well, why trade this one, right? Well, the truth is it had a good risk to return. And it did give me that return, just not as much. Because one of the things that I've been trying to struggle with is, where do I put the stop loss once the move's going, right? And trailing it a lot of the times is going to get you to hit that stop loss and take the profits. There's nothing wrong with that, but you need to find a way to find a play with the stock. Sometimes it's understanding the volatility and the beta in the stock, how much it's moving up and down with the market, right? So those are all things that we need to be thinking about. We'll see what happens, guys. But yeah, that was an interesting one, Scott. I can look up the ticker in just a second. I'll look it up. That's on the main account. Right now, I'm trying to trade with the limited and trying to keep battling right now. We'll see what happens, guys. Let's see what we can come up with today. NUWE trying to come back towards that 230s, and there's really not too much in the way there. Where I saw some selling waiting is around the 250 spot. So I'm looking to see if we can approach that 250 spot before the open here, because things will be looking a lot better, right? I'm trying to play it off the bottom, off the bid right here, where you guys see that bottoming area, and I'm going to delete some of these lines here just so you can see some of the kind of where I'm talking about the support being. And so the support, I see it somewhere around here, right? It's not a specific one point, but it definitely seems like we're finding support in that area. So looking for the moves to come back towards the resistance, and it's tried to make it through 250 before, and I played it here through the 250 up there towards the 270s. I actually took some at 266. So I'm looking to see if we can get back there. We see 1, 2, 3 times trying to get up there towards 3. I talk about the rule of 3 all the time, and on the 4th attempt, I would love to see a 4th attempt here. Make it up there to the 260s, the 275s, because I think you could get to 3 and maybe even this first spike, this 314, and take it out. If that could happen, well, yeah, we'll be making a hell of a lot of money. And if anything, getting close to maybe making the limited account in just a week. That's the kind of approach that I want to take on the limited account, and just going to keep getting after it, taking the swings. It's only $95. So there's really not much risk to me, and I need to go ahead and step up to the plate. Let's get after it, team. Let's see what we can do today. All right, and one of the great things, of course, is always the risk that's already measured for me, which is $300 for the day. That's the account risk, and I view it like that. I try to, view it like that. I mean, that's the risk. I want to go for the reward. See what I can get today. All right, let's see what else is out there. How come I can't place my orders? Well, Jim, it depends. Is it buying power issue? Is it more a limited order issue? Let me know. You know, one of the things is, don't forget, of course, in the pre-market, you can't put market orders. You must put limit orders on both sides of the trade, getting in and out. All right, it's good to see you guys out there. Keep throwing up those stocks. We'll keep looking out in the market to see what's going on and what we can find. I mean, right now, I'm still watching this NUWE. I mean, it's not going anywhere. A little part of me is thinking about just cutting the trade and getting out. But, hey, I'm in right now looking for the spike back towards the 245 and 250s. We'll see if we get it here. Now we're finally at least getting a little bounce off the 230s. Let's see if they want to actually start taking it up there. Get back up towards the 245. That's where we ran into the wall last time. Really, I'm looking at that 250. Once we get to that area, we'll look to see if we get that real spike and this starts really getting the motor going. We can make some good cash off of a spike above the 250s. All right, let's keep it moving. We'll see what else is out there moving. I still see ADM and I see SRM now moving. So SRM looking for that $1. It just got above that $1 spot, so nice little pullback on the $1. Looks pretty good off the 106 here for a scalp, maybe higher. We'll see what happens on this SRM. Where can it get to? We was just at 112, so that's the area that I would give it immediately, that 112, right? And then I'd look to the left to see what we can go to the next level. Next level I have is around 126, so this one doesn't look too bad. Just got back above the $1. Let's see if it gets now, starts to really get going towards the 112s and 120s. And ADN up there to 385. Big breakout there in ADN. Nice move there, guys, from 3 all the way up there towards 380s. Could make it to 4. LIFW is another one, but that's not really moving much there. I'm just looking at the scanners and trying to give you guys the insight when those start to move. VSTE trying to get back there through 8. I've talked about how this one could move in the open market. I'd be watching this one especially towards the open, right? Because this one was all the way up there towards 11. So is there risk to return? Yes, but be careful. There's a lot of risk in this one. I'm glad I got out of this one because this one was making me sweat for a second there. I was down like close to 100, 200 on this one, and I'm not going to do that again until the open, at least, until I get some better liquidity in VSTE, because that was the issue. The issue was I got in, and then the spread widened out 20, 30 cents. You got to be careful on that. All right, let's take a look at some of the China stocks. And it looks like you're looking at Futu. So Futu, let's go take a look. You can see it trying to change above the 96.62. And this is all to do with China. I honestly think all these China names are moving with each other. Look at FXI. Look at Baba. Look at JD, right? Look at PDD. They're all kind of moving side by side. This has more to do with actual what we call fiscal stimulus, right? Monetary stimulus that's coming from China. That's the only thing that's, I think, the focus here. It's not about the earnings. It's not about the products. It's not about AI. It's more about, will things turn in China and will they keep supporting it, giving it more and more stimulus to get things moving? That's what I'm betting on the swing trade. I have a swing on Baba to the upside. So if anything, I'd be looking at Futu to the bullish side, right? But the problem here is that it's going to be a lot of the times in China stocks, it's overnight action when we get the big move, right? That's the hard part. Sky, what's up out there? Some love from India. It's good to see you, Sky. And it's good to see all you guys out there. And if you're new to the show or for some reason just listening in, and maybe it's not your thing to be in the chat too much, but just say hello. It's good to see you guys out there. I always love to see some new faces, and we're ready to get after it. The turn traders in the house. Hide out there, guys. You don't want to get flushed. Steph, what's going on? What are you taking a look at? Worked on my ego over the weekend. Hopefully I can take the small loss. Yes, that's the hard thing sometimes, right? Some things is that we start to become good traders and we start to think that we're better than we are, right? It happens to me. I've been humbled, right? I got humbled just a couple weeks ago. And I think that that's important, right? We all get humbled in trading, guys. We need to be focused on what? How can we maximize? How can we maximize? And Steph, you've been doing great. So hang in there, all right? Hang in there. TAF. I saw that one moving fast earlier. Let's take a look at staff now. Staff was pushing strong earlier, and I was watching it when it was breaking out right here around the 380s, and I liked this pullback when it came back towards like into the 366 area. It popped up there towards 4. I was like, man, I would have just sold it there, because that would have been, I was looking at 1,000 shares, but I got this one, staff. I was looking at it right after I had just gotten stopped out in VSTE. So you can see here, I sold VSTE at 804. You can see it here. This one was coming at like 8 right here, starting to come back. 8 a.m. Boom. Staff looks good though. I'd keep staff on the radar. The one thing is you're having a nice hourly long pullback. I'd be looking for pushes back towards 4. That's really when things are going to get hot. This is going to be one that's going to be on the radar. But of course, this is also one of your low float names that just kind of moves with other ones, right? Zip Recruiter, you guys can see even that's moving this morning. So some of those are getting the move. We'll see if they can actually keep pushing. BSTE, definitely one that we'll kind of keep and watch. We'll see if that one gets back through 8. I'll be watching that. I did see some news in Peloton, so let's go to the news, guys. Let's talk a little bit about the Sunrise report. We'll get to some of this action, and we'll get back to the market. You guys smash it up out there. We got a lot to talk about. Keep throwing up those names, and let's keep it moving. It's good to see you out there. Stay calm. Let's go. Let's go. Sunrise report time. All right, guys, of course, this is the week where we'll run into FOMC meeting and elections. Expect volatility as the Federal Reserve rate decision, of course, is going to be coming on Wednesday. And actually, that comes on Thursday. So we're going to be watching to see what happens. And when we get that report, will they cut 50 basis points again? I think this is all going to depend also on how the market reacts, right? So the elections are going to be coming in on Tuesday, but we won't really know until probably Wednesday. Let's be honest, how we always see the elections. They go late into the night, and finally they start announcing who's potentially winning late into the evening. Let's say 10 o'clock, 11, sometimes even into midnight. So I'll be watching to see what happens on that. And guys, stay tuned because it's going to be a fun one. I might even try to do a little bit of a stream. We'll see what happens, guys. I know that a lot of the futures traders are going to be trading nonstop with the action in the elections. And also earnings on deck, all right? About 20% of the S&P 500 is reporting this week. And with 70% of companies already gone through their estimates and their earnings, well, we need to kind of watch what happens. It was a decent earnings reports and earnings season, but still, we're not getting the big up move in the market that some expected. Now, this week, watch out for a potential report from Super Microcomputer. Oh, man, that's going to be something else. SMCI will definitely be a big focus on that report. Who knows what could happen with that company? That one is definitely a gamble. Moderna, CVS, Qualcomm, and Wynn Resorts. But this morning, I did see one that was getting a lift, and that was Marriott. So let's take a look at Marriott and take a look at some of their earnings here. Marriott coming in with an EPS of 226, missing the 231 estimate. Sales of 6.25 billion fell short of the expectation here. And Q4 guidance was projected towards at 2 to 3%, right? So good Q4 guidance here. EPS guidance at $9.19 to $9.27 is actually below the estimate. But I think that you got to be looking in here because it's a little bit of a mixed report. Because if we think about it here, Marriott has been already kind of getting the lift into the report. So I think this is one of those reports where, yeah, you got the pullback as, of course, the stock had already kind of made a big move to the upside. Hilton, of course, pulling back on this. Will these charts break on the daily? I think you got to keep watch on them because if they do start to break, that can mean that we're going to have a tough holiday season. I think that you could see some attempted downside and then come back by wicked reversals to the upside. And the reason why is that the airlines have been doing so well. Well, will this trade turn this week? Something to look at. All right, let's go to the big news out there. Of course, all the conversation is going to be on what's going on with Warren Buffett. And is there some concern for Apple? I think there's definite concern for Apple. For a second there, I thought maybe new highs. At least technically, that's what we looked like. But now it is danger, danger, guys. Erase all the action from this Apple chart. And now this looks like it's about to fall off. And we've been here before with Apple. And 9 out of 10 times, it recovers. Will the 10 out of 10, or the 10th time, be the time when we actually start to see the demise of Apple? And I think that this is what we need to be thinking about. What really is the concern here for Warren Buffett? Why has he sold? Because he's not selling a little bit, guys. He's selling a lot. Warren Buffett has sold another chunk of its Apple stake, reducing it by 100 million shares. So Buffett's position has dropped by 67% in Apple over the last year, possibly due to, of course, high valuation and tax consideration. Apple shares dipped, of course, on the news as they sold that other 100 million shares. They still have, just to put it in perspective, right? They still have 200 million shares. But I mean, when you reduce a position by 67% and it was your largest position, you're telling me that this is as good as it gets for Apple. And that is a big concern for the market. That should be a bigger concern than pretty much the elections, because we all know how a lot of people go with what Warren buys and sells. And Warren has called a lot of stocks to the upside, one being Apple. Now we're seeing the downside come in on Apple. So we'll see what happens here. Doesn't look great here for Apple at all. All right, let's go to NVIDIA. As everyone was jumping on Friday to announce that, hey, did you guys see NVIDIA is in the Dow? Yeah, they're replacing Intel in the Dow. Effective at the week's end, the move highlights, of course, NVIDIA's surge in AI's dominance as Intel trails behind it. So another negative news for Intel, another positive news for, of course, NVIDIA. But how much will this give it the lift? It already gave it the lift, and that was after hours. That was at 7 o'clock, right? When this was announced, when the news was announced. Now it's pulled back. We'll see what happens. Can the market have a good tech day? I think that's what you're watching. If you do have a good tech day, yeah, NVIDIA could rally. But if not, you could see some downside come in to NVIDIA. All right, the last one I want to talk about on the Sunrise Report is Peloton, as they're coming in with a little bit of some ratings change here. So it looks like, of course, Bank of America now rating it with a buy. What? Yes, you got that right, guys. And a raised price target of $9 up from $3.75 due to strong EBITDA growth potential under the new CEO, Peter Stern. So EBITDA outlook analysts expect Peloton's EBITDA to surpass 300 million this year, potentially reaching 400 plus in the coming years. So, hey, now Peloton already getting a lift. It was up there towards $8, $8.50, $8.75s. Now has filled majority of that gap. Will it start to come back above the eights? Something to watch here. $7.85. And the fun part, it's a cheap stock, right? So you can trade it with some bigger size. And you don't have to worry so much about Peloton going to zero, at least maybe by tomorrow. All right, what's going on out there? How we doing, Carolyn? It's good to see you guys in the chat. Seems the market slow movement today. Is this before elections? 1,000%, Jim. It's common. And one of the things that I would tell you guys is don't expect big moves. It would be a surprise to see a big move before the elections. A lot of times the bets are already in. By now, the bets have been made, right? Like you probably bought nuclear 3 weeks ago and said if Trump wins, well, I have it way higher, right? And the same thing for, let's say, a Kamala, right? You're going to be looking at maybe solar stocks moving today. Things like that, right? There's just going to be a lot of back and forth action, right? And will Trump be good for tech or will it be a negative for tech? I mean, there's a lot of questions here. One thing's for certain. Nobody knows how the market will be reacting. And that's the real hard part of even taking swing trades from Tuesday on. Because if you're taking a swing trade, you're essentially taking a bet that you know what's going to happen in the elections. So if you do, please give me a call because Money Mitch wants to know also. but I don't even know what's going to happen in the election. We can all make our inferences, but hey, it is what it is. I'll tell you one thing. Tomorrow is going to be hectic out there. So be careful out there, guys. Go get your voting in. Get your voting in early, and then we'll see what happens in the market. VKTX, good morning out there, Wally. Hey, BSTE starting to break out, Shane. Always appreciate you, Shane. Always appreciate you. And look, I put Shane in the ticker. That's your new ticker, Shane. All right, guys, there's the push. It didn't get back above the 8s. Let's see if it got back above the 8s on a little spike there. It did, and it came right back down. Of course, I had this at 780s, guys. I got rid of it because it just, the spread, man. The spread on this thing was very, very difficult. You can see my buys here, and then where I kind of sold. So you can see my buy, 799, 729, brought me to the 780s. As it came back to the 780s, I said, I'm getting the heck out of this name. So I got out there. I'll watch to see what happens out the gates here with it, but it's going to be a tough name for sure to hang on. We'll see what happens if it can start to push, especially out the gates. That's one thing that I'd say about for VSTE that I'll be watching, right? If VSTE really wants to get the move, I think it's going to be towards the gates. We'll be watching it for it. I'll alert back through 818, like up here at 818. It could also make an approach to 7 on the downside. Don't forget that the pullback is like 650s from yesterday's action on VSTE, and that'd be a pullback into the prior chart, right? Hourly chart coming back down towards 650s and things like that. All right, NUWE, taking a look at the action there, 230s, holding on right now on the hourly. I'm looking at the 15. I'm just watching the 15-minute chart now. I'm looking for this to kind of hold the 226 pullback right now and just keep pushing back towards the 230s, 240s. If it does go back below, let's say 225s, 220s, that's going to be my sign to probably just let it go for the time being and then get back into the trade if needed. It did get back there towards 33s, 34s in the last like kind of 30 minutes. So I'm watching the action. It's trying to make it back there to where it was. I got this at 235. So we'll look to see if it gets back towards the 240s. I got it back over here around the 820 hour, 820. We'll see what happens here. Can it get the push? It's testing my spot right now. It could go down below the 220s quickly here. So just keeping a very close eye on it. We'll see what happens. NUWE. All right. Watching the action here. I'm getting a little bit of a test there. There's a big order at 220. So that's where we got to be careful. Big order, 24,000 shares just waiting there. Will the market maker take it to it? It could. And I think that's one thing that I'm a little bit concerned about here. All right, getting ready to get out if needed. And that's the important thing here is always be ready, guys. Of course, I'm looking around at different stocks right now, so I'm trying to stay focused, right? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put out an order around like 290s just to have it ready to go. And if I need to, I'll change it around, right? Of course, that's in the green there. We'll see what happens if we do get the spike today. Just watching around, guys. All right, let's keep it moving. Let's go. SMCI is down already towards 25. Just calling that one out because it's definitely taking a big hit there. ADN back above 4s. Could start to pull back now. It does look strong, though. Staff trying to get back towards 350s. We'll keep an eye on some of these smaller names. Let's go to some of the bigger names and see what else is moving out there. VKTX was mentioned in the chat. That's Viking Therapeutics. It's taking a hit right now, but this had been up there for a while. Big pullback now to 75. Got all the way up there. Was it up there to 90 this morning? Oof, 90, man. What a pullback now. So at least you've had your big pullback. You could come back some of this, right? I wouldn't be looking at 92 to come back, but can I come back to 80, 67? Yeah, I can kind of come back to that. That's what we call a mean reversion, where it comes back to the VWAP, that kind of action. Yeah, you could maybe be looking at that, but this one's a falling knife and a hard one to catch, man. I liked it when it was on the upside earlier, but now it looks a little dangerous. I think you need it to get back above that 80-60 if it's really going to be looking bullish. If it breaks 75, yeah, you start to really kind of let go, and it looks really dangerous. So you can see today we undercut that already twice. So I'd be looking for like kind of the 75s to start holding at some point. At some point, it needs to recover 75 and hold. All right, looking around to see what I can do, guys. Let's go. Let's go. Let's make that money. How we doing out there? It's good to see you guys. Watching me from Guyana. Let's go. Let's go. Make that money out there today, guys. We got Carolyn in the house. Go. Get that savage. Little coffee. Little, what I say, like I always say, a little pinkies on up today, guys. We got to get a little fancy today. But don't get fancy with them stocks. Let's go make that money. Let's stay focused, right? You guys see me down 45 right now. But in the bottom left, you guys will see it. I'll go ahead and I'll move Carolyn's message there. But hey, it's good to see some new faces in the chat. Love to see that. I saw that in video. Let's go. Let's go. It's good to see you guys out there. Definitely. Let's get after it. Some new faces out there. But yeah, at least I'm up for the day. 154. Made a good trade earlier. Maybe could have sold out of NUE at like 75 earlier today and then made like 200 to 300. I made like 150 on that trade. And there's been multiple times. You can see it here. I made 190 on that trade. But I still had some share size to sell. I had 400 shares that I could have sold. So probably had like another, what, $100 there. So there was availability to make 300 on the open. And I think that that's what I need to be kind of doing more of. Trying to really set myself with a really nice cushion on the limited account can really help you guys. All right, there's Viking already getting a spike back. We'll see what happens with that. NUWE now started to get at least a little lift here. Let's see if it can really push back through this 235. Get moving before the gates, guys. It's 9:12. Let's go, team. Let's see what we can come up with today. All right, guys. All right, let's go. Let's keep it moving. All right, guys, it's trying to kick this 235. Sorry about that. Just talking a little bit with my man Tim for work, just getting things ready for the week. It's going to be another great one here, guys. Looking around to see what's getting the move. Now I'm starting to get some spike out there. JNVR, some cheaper names out there starting to get the move. Let's see if NUWE can just show up on my scanners. That's what I really would like to see. So, of course, you guys know I use some scanners from Benzinga Pro, and you guys want to be focused on the change to 5 minutes. That's what I'm looking at right now. Let's see if we can get this to move here. I'm at 235, so we're right on it. Let's go. Let's go. What you got for me, NUWE? All right, where's the little wall here? There's not much wall, but I do see that the bids are starting to move up a little bit. That's actually pretty good. All right, let's take a look at some other action here before the open. Of course, on the main account, can watch stocks like Tesla and stocks like that. Tesla, I think we saw deliveries and they weren't good here. So Tesla is already taking a major hit here. We'll see what happens. It did sell about 68,280 China-made EVs in October, but that was down 5.3% year over year. So not good news there. Kathy offloading Palantir. Ahead of earnings. So Palantir coming soon, guys, with their earnings. And I talked about how 45 could be the topping on Palantir. 45 could be the topping on Palantir. Boom! Look at the top on Palantir. Wow. And that was off the weekly, guys. So the weekly gave us that outlook. Of course, the earnings will come in and shake this up, but it could be down to 30s by the time the earnings come in, or maybe back towards 44 or 45. But I'll tell you one thing. Definitely, I've been looking to see this turn. Now that Kathy sold it, it could actually go further down, especially if we had like kind of a red day today. Watch out. It could be further down there in Palantir. So definitely one to watch there as Kathy went selling. All right, we'll see what else is out there. Definitely. Hey, who knows what happens though if Trump wins? Does Tesla go up? What if Trump loses and Tesla actually goes down on that? There's two outlooks there. You don't think Tesla investors are watching what's going on with Elon and Trump? You think there that nobody's watching that? Well, then you'd be a little bit of a bozo for me, because the truth is, guys, they're watching that. Investors are really focused in on that because, of course, if Trump now comes into the White House, he could help Elon. He could help him get his superchargers out there, right? He could help him push on autonomous, right? He could help him by giving them abilities to get maybe some more subsidies, something like that. At the end of the day, we all know how Elon's been actually not only helping Trump by his conversation and talk, but also actually giving money to the super PACs, right? Something to look at. VKTX climbing its way back. Yeah, it's climbing its way back. We'll see if it makes its way back there. It's up there now to 77. I think 80 is in play. It could come all the way back. I mean, there's no reason why it can't. But one thing's for certain, 80 needs to get taken out first. All right, guys, NUWE just not holding on here, guys. It hasn't made the real breakout, and I'm trying to watch it here. But as we get closer and closer towards the open, a little part of me feels like just letting it go. And then I could always get back in the name. So what I'm going to do right now is set it off kind of 229. If it hits 229, I'm out there, guys. I'll take the 6 cents loss there and get out. That's what I want to watch right now. The bids on 230s there. I'm really looking for it to start climbing back there, get through the high, which was 38s. Of course, that would still put me in the green. Let's see if it gets back through that 38 here. If not, it's probably going to head right back down. And before the open, could head back towards $2 first, or 211, and then start to work its way back. So I don't want to get caught on an undercut of this 225. All right, we'll see what happens here. Got to get ready to get out if needed, though. All right, team, we'll see what else is out there. Thoughts on Google this week? Let's take a look at that action. You love Tesla, Kevin. Well, do you love Trump? I think those two go hand in hand right now. Google, we talked about the 170 spot being the spot that was important when it broke out from it. It got close to it on Friday. It went to 170.31. That's the level I'm looking. If it breaks 170, I don't like Google. If it holds 170 on pullbacks, it could start working its way right back towards 180. I think this has more to do with how the market works throughout the week, right? I don't expect anything that's going to be an immediate move back towards, let's say, 180. So if anything, I'm looking for dips back towards 170 to find buyers. Another thing to look for is kind of you see this like MACD, right? The moving average, right? The moving average convergence and divergence, right? The MACD indicator. Let's look for a 1 hour cross back, right? Like it's on the pullback and it's doing good, but it needs to get back above the 0 line and start to cross over to show me that the momentum's coming back to Google and I can play it. All right, we'll see what else is out there. Tesla doing decent there. Apple, we've talked about how this could keep going lower, and it's going lower in the pre-market already. I'm a little bit concerned about Apple today. It could be an ugly, ugly Apple day, man. I'm telling you guys, one thing's for certain. There's two plays I'm looking at right now. It's short Apple and it's long VIX. That's the playbook today, guys. And I kept the playbook really small today because the truth is there's a lot of action out there that's going to happen, right? And with that being said, I think today and the next week, really, you have to remain on what I call edge on both sides. Because the truth is that there's going to be bullish moves and there's going to be bearish moves. You just have to be quick to the move. And so you can see here, we could make a spike back towards 65 on the weekly. But I think it's going to be a battle. It's not going to be so easy. So we'll see what happens here. Will we just get a quick move down in the VIX, or will we start to spike back through the 57s? Because at some point, we could get that volatility spike back through 57. So I think you got to keep watch on it. You see how these kind of lower trend line keeps holding. I could see a pullback going towards that and then the break to the upside. So I'll be watching for quick pullbacks. That's a push up in the market and then followed by the takedown. Right now, we're already getting some of the takedown in the Qs. We'll see what happens there. All right, we'll see what other ones happen in the sectors, right? Because the sectors are also not looking that great, guys. As we take a look more and more, healthcare got a little bit of a bounce. Technology is not looking good. That looks like a bearish turn. Industrials look like kind of like a head and shoulders pattern. So that looks ugly to me on the industrials. And you guys know I liked industrials. So XLI, will it be able to hang on here? Will be very important. Deer, those types of names. Cat, definitely watch out, guys. We'll just go back to the 390s, right? All things to be looking at. I think this is closer towards 370s. And if Deere starts breaking down through the 400, yeah, XLI could be right back down. And Lockheed Martin keeps breaking down. So what actually got it back up to the upside is starting to break the defensive names, the aerospace and defense. So in my eyes, watch out. Watch out on those names. XLI, even GE that's had such a good time is starting to break. That tells me something. And that tells me be careful for continued downside in the industrial space. Let's take a look at the cyclicals. The cyclicals have just recently got a little pop there. Restaurants weren't looking the worst. I did see Yum C. And so I'm getting a decline here in NUWE. Just give me a second here, guys. I might have to just get out on this one. It's just hard to kind of go through all the names and still kind of trade and focus in on that. So now I'm just watching it off this 226 because it already hit my 229, right? It could get out of this 228 right here. Just looking to see if it recovers that. If not, just getting out of the 226, taking the $100 probably loss there. Let's see what happens here. Big important spot here. Can it recover the 230s here? It's 923s. If not, going to get out of here. That was a little bit of a bottom attempt there at the 226. But needs to start coming back through the 230s. If not, the pressure is going to be on, and I got to get out and then look to get back in on NUWE. That's the important thing. Give myself the chance. Don't get wiped out on this one trade. Just because I'm watching it here doesn't mean I need to push the levels, right? Just need to go ahead and accept it. Hey, maybe the timing's off, and I'll get back into it when the time comes in, right? So the 15-minute chart is still holding well off that support, the 226. So that's why I'm like kind of holding on that level. And he needs to recover that 9 and cut the VWAP back up, right? But it could also make that move to the support. Support is closer towards 220s and 211s. All right, we'll see what happens on that one. And definitely keep your eyes out there for different stocks moving. Financial services have been breaking down, and I've talked about how this would eventually break down even more. And it's done moves to the downside, but it's always turned right back up. So I think we need to watch here to see if we finally start to get a real collapse. Goldman Sachs, really nice levels to watch here now. As I start to take a look at that, I can see here that this 527, this 530 level is acting as kind of resistance, right? And so that's kind of your push to the upside. A takedown back through 515. And we know how when Goldman Sachs actually makes a move on the downside, it's a quick, fast, heavy move. So that's what I'll be looking for on downside. Quick and fast, heavy move down. Not a choppy chop move down, because if it's a choppy chop move down, that's not a good thing for me. So we'll see what happens there. Keeping the close eye on the market here. Trying to see a push back there towards the 240s on NUWE, but not seeing it as the time being and about to get out on it. NUWE. Focused on it, guys. They gotta watch it like a hawk here. It's right off my level, and I definitely don't want to get wiped out here right before the open. I'm trying to go ahead and still stay in the green, right? Still stay in the green. I'm giving myself a shot here to get bigger green, to get maybe 300, 200 before the open here. We'll see what happens. All right, guys, 9:25. We're almost at the open here. Looking around, ADN giving me another pop, man. That thing's been strong. Look at that now, 450s. What a move there, guys. What a move. What a move. All right, so this one's doing kind of that rounding bottom and just made a nice little move back towards the upside, a push back through. Now we're having that kind of 1, 2, 3 approaches. I think this one maybe has 5 in reach today. It's 450s. Let's see if it goes to 5 right now before the open here, and then starts to tick back as it could start to pull back to the VWAP at that point. But I still think that you have potential to get towards that 5. Let's see if it gets there. So it's making a repeat pattern too, and I think that's one thing to look for, right? Repeat patterns are so important. I talked about this on Friday. We found another one that did a repeat pattern, and we made a great trade off of it. Let's see if we can get another one today. So this pullback to 426, important to hold because it's the body close of resistance here when you were trying to break out at 9. Now you're trying to hold it on a pullback. Don't want to even see back 410s. 410s is that 9 EMA attempt, which could happen here. Of course, we know how the 9 EMA comes into play, and it bounced off of it here. But I wouldn't want to see it get there because that's probably the breakdown back to the 4. Want to see it hold that 426, go right back through that 450s towards 470s to the 5. We'll see if it makes it up there towards 5 today. It's already been on a big breakout. I just think it's nearing the end of its move here. We'll see what happens. But that's my outlook. You guys call your shots, man. All right, nothing happens. Too slow. Been sitting on my hands, waiting and waiting. Yeah, it happens like that, Jim. So I think today's one of those days. Try to keep it simple. Try to make a quick, simple play. That's okay. It's okay to make just a little cash today and get ready for the good cash later in the week. What's going on out there? How we doing? Wesley, what's going on? How we doing, man? You ready to get after this market? It's good to see you, my friend. I like the shades. Ooh, need to get some shades myself. I want to get some new ones. Well, might have to trade for it. Make that money. All right, guys, like always, be safe out there. Today's going to be one of those days where there's just not a lot of volume either. So the big traders, the institutional desk, are they really going to open a brand new position today? Very unlikely, unless they're leaning in one way in the elections. The truth is, money will be on the sideline a lot today because the bet's probably already in place. So I think you look at what's just moving. So today is one of those days where I'm not so focused on the news. I'm not so focused on the economy. I'm focused more on what's moving today. And I think that's going to be very important. So just catching that and trying to trade those, because that's where at least I have volatility to potentially make money. Volatility is always an opportunity. It means the stock's going to move. How you play it, of course, is something else. But as long as the stock can move, we can potentially make good money. VKTX looks good. Yeah, I mean, did it get back there? Let me know when it gets to that 80. I'm still looking for it to get back to the VWAP and start popping. So you can see here, now the VWAP's come down some. The VWAP was at 80 prior, and now we're starting to work our way back to that VWAP, which is 78.84. It's working its way back. Don't get it wrong. But I think for right now, still got to wait for the 80 pop. But you're close there. And that's a nice little pop, nice little comeback there. And you can see how the MACD is starting to turn. I talked about how I'd look to see if we could start to see that hold there. The hourly has come back, hasn't broken that, so could still make a comeback, especially towards the open. I'd be watching for a pop above 80s, going towards like 84, and then coming back towards 80 is the way I would play it. But that's just me, right? Okay, guys, well, that's what happens when you focus too much on another play there. Getting a big hit on NUWE, guys. That's what I was trying to avoid, but it's hard here sometimes when I'm trying to cover the market and at the same time cover the stocks. Want it out there at 226 there, so I'm trying to get out right now, guys. All right, here's the open, guys. Be careful out there, guys. I'm going to focus in on NUE. You guys be safe out there. All right, might get hit here on NUE. Down to the downside here, 406. Down to the downside, 219s. I'm about to get hit here. Just got to be careful there. Looking for the bounce off the 220s. But, man, that was a quick little hit there on NUE. The market's open here, guys. Be careful there. Now down about towards like 200 here. So I have 150 cushion here. Really need to see the 210s hold because if not, it starts to really flush down here. There's that hit down to the 210 area, about to get hit out of NUWE. Let's See if it bounces here on the support. There's a support here, but it needs a hold here and start to climb back here. Little part of me is thinking about adding in, but I need it to come back at least to the 225, start working its way back here. We'll see what happens if I do take a hit right here. Of course, I'll still be in the account, still be battling as I'm up 150 on the account, but about to take a hit, an unnecessary hit, I think. I should have been out of there right before the open there. Lost focus there a little bit, and I got to be honest, when I lose focus there, I definitely lost a little focus there, and it could just be, you know, trying to keep up with everything, but not going to make excuses, just going to focus on here. Needs to hold the support, come back here, and then at that point, I can hold off of that level. So right there, you're starting to recover the support. Let's see if we can recover this support and start to work higher. So now I need to go to the 1 minute and catch that kind of red to green action. There's the red to green action. That's kind of what I wanted to see. Now I need to see this candle go back to green here. Let's see if it starts to move here. Pow, I don't need a call right now. All right, guys, we'll see what happens. Starting to get some recovery there, but not major, right? So just got to focus in here. Seeing SRRK, that's an alert for me, guys. I need to go focus in on that one in a second here. Seeing the VXX already jumping, guys. So the VXX already getting a spike. Apple fake out to the upside there. So watch that one. SRRK giving me alert to the downside. Going to be watching that stock, guys, for a potential short. And that could be even a swing trade short. VSTE on the downside to 7. So that's actually taking a hit to the downside there in VSTE. All right, NUWE trying to come back here on the 15-minute. It's still looking ugly, but it's trying to recover this 210. So looking to see if it can recover that on a 5-minute basis. Get green candle and try it to the 240s. Give me a try to the 240s. See what happens here. Now it's on the downside again. It's playing around with the 9 EMA right now, trying to recover. Move down through the 210s, though. That's the danger area. We'll see if we get that recovery now. 220s, 222s coming back in. 230s is going to be the important part. There's the 230 spike there. So not a bad first spike here. All right, 234s, 235 starting to show up there. All right, trying to limit down here some, guys. So I'm trying to get out like some of the sizing. So at least take down some of the sizing is important for me here. All right, there it is. I took down 500 shares. So at least I'm going to give it a chance here to make the move. But at least if I take the loss here, it won't be a big loss, right? I'm looking for the bigger move here. There's the push now towards the 240s. Looking good here on the first action. Let's see if we can really pop here now. All right, starting to get that action back here. Now the 15-minute chart, I'd like it to hold 230s on the pullback, not cut to 225. All right, risk set at 223s. So 223s is my risk. Only $60 now. In a second here, I do want to add if it starts to pop towards that 250. All right, there's that 240 pop there. Looking good on the recovery now as we start to really push here. 250s is where I saw a big seller earlier in the day, so that's where I'm watching the action here, guys. Let's go, let's go. Best switches to you guys out there, and you guys keep throwing up some stocks in the chat. Let's stay safe out there. Let's get after it, and let's make that money. All right, here's 250 starting to show up there. Now we're really starting to make a move here. Let's go. Let's go. All right, there's that first action off the 254s. Now we're really going here. There we go. Now towards 260s. Now we're starting to pop here. Of course, if I had my major size and my big size here, it'd still be looking really good here. Now I'm going to be break even. I won't lose on this position. Looking for this to really start to get a nice little pop into the 275s, 280s, maybe even run towards the 3 today. Let's see if this can run here. 295, and I'll take it all out, guys. That's a nice 300 trade here. Let's see if we can get it. Right now, break even on it and just cash, right? So there's two options here. I either make money or stop out break even. And I'm cool with that, guys, because the truth is this one was in the red and I set myself up here. Let's see if I can get it to really make that breakout here. 235s pullback could come right to me for a second here. I'm going to give it a little bit towards the 230s. 230s, it seems like a nice little pullback that could happen here. So let's give it a tiny bit of some size here. Tiny bit of some space here for a pullback. There's that pullback trying to cut me out there, and it pulls back and holds for a second there. Now back towards 240s, could cut me out at any moment here. All right, 243s, looking to go ahead and get that to pop right back up there. Now we're looking good here. Now that goes to the 250s. Now we're starting to shoot off here. So looking great here. All right, now we got to go ahead and just hold to a $5 loss if he comes back to me. But look at the breakout look that I have. I have $295 for a sell. That's $300 on the upside. Now we're starting to push there to the 265. It's trying to make the move and pop above the 275s. That's going to be the important level here when it gets up there. Now 260s, 265s can't hold the 250 pullback now. Now I want it to start holding the 250 pullback, right? So at some point it needs to start holding and make an approach here where it holds the 250s. All right, it's pulling back. Could come back and get me now, guys. I put the stop loss in the green here to just take the pressure off me. Now just let the trade work, right? A lot of times we get into this position where we got to just let the trade do its work now. Now it's just more, does it break out or not? And the trade is very simple. It's not very difficult at all. It's just this trade here. It's a trend line break approach. Does it go for the breakout approach back through that trend line, which is 270s, which could bring it right back to this high, which is 314s, and it could go even higher than that, right? There's no reason why it has to stop there. So what I'm going to do is, as this approaches up there to the 270s, I can put my stop loss up there to 250s, 260s, and look for the bigger breakout. But the idea is to make at least 300, especially if it gets to the 290s. Got to take that money and get the hell out of there. All right, let's go. We'll take a look at the round in the market there. Tesla down, down, down she goes there. She's taking a big wallop. Apple starting to take a big hit. That's good for the VXX. Going to be watching the VXX in the main account here and just watching to see if I can get this last little explosion here on NUWE. If not, hey, so be it. I'll take the $10 and I'll get the hell out of there. It's a good shot. Good shot there. Balancing, setting up, looking for the bigger move. Could add, but see what happens. Giving it some room there. All right, let's go. Let's go, guys. Let's go. Welcome to the danger zone, the twilight zone. Oh, I still got some of the Halloween music stuck in my head. All right, let's go taking a look around, guys. The 260s coming for the NUWE there. Let's go. Let's go. Want to go trade in the main account, but this one's interesting here, guys. 265, let's go. 270s, will we get that big breakout here? Now we're really starting to rock and roll. Let's go. In a second here, I'm going to secure 50 bucks. All right, securing 50 bucks here. No matter what, I'll make another 50 here, guys. So I'm looking for the big breakout here. But if it doesn't come, it doesn't come. So now I'm pushing this up to the 335 spot. So it'd be 335 if it breaks out and goes to 3. Put it right at 3. So I could see a pop above 3, but I'm trying my best not to get too greedy, right? That's the main thing I've noticed in this limited account is that you can get very greedy very quickly. That's not the idea. The idea is make this nice pop and make that money. All right, pulling it to the 295s now that we're closer, and I got to move the stop loss up with it as we start to approach it and try to make that money, right? So there's a nice pop there. Nice setup there. Now we're towards at least 170 on the profits. I'm going to put 160 here in a second. Okay, now I bring this up. And I bring this up. So you see what I'm doing here? I want to show you guys this. All right, now we're moving it up. Just moving the stop loss, guys. Securing cash. There you go. Give my chance for the 3 breakdown, and it comes right back, right? So it could have broke 3 there and just gave me the cash on the top end, but it gave me the cash on the bottom end. Is that a bad thing? No, because as I trailed the stop loss, I want to give it the chance for this big pop, right? It could pop here to 4 for all I care, right? I'm not going to be upset. I took the trade. I nailed the trade. I tried to bring the stop loss up with it, about 10 cents away from it, 10 cents away from it, 10 cents away from it. It was there at 295s. Pulled back quickly to 285s and caught me. That's cool, because the truth is that the pullback could be to 270s and 260s really quickly. So I want to give myself the potential to make more there for the pop through 3 and it just breaks out. But what I did was just secured the win. 247 there on that win. Not a bad one there. Could have maybe gotten 300. Yes, but it's 379 on the account, guys. And guess what? I've only opened this account now for 1 week, and I'm almost up half the account needed in the limited account. Of course, we're talking about this account here, guys. So I'll just put it on the screen so you guys can see it. We've been talking about this account as being really our best opportunity right now, guys. I'm up 534 on the account, and there you guys have it. Look at the breakout there. There's 329 to a halt. So did I sell out a little early? Yes. Could have sold out a little early. Could have made the $500, the $600 winner there. And it's very hard. I've been telling you guys, I'm trying to figure out trying to figure out how do I balance between going for the bigger swing and moving that stop loss up and taking the money. You guys saw me there work it, and I tried to balance out there. It went to 285 on that micro pullback, right? So if we look at here on that pullback here, that was right here. It went to 280. So I would have had to have hold it to like 270 to get through there. On this breakout though, yes, that's like $400, $500. But I'm not going to be upset, man. This is a great trade. Great trade today on NUWE twice. And that's an important thing too. And so now I'm up 379 for the day. And now it's just look to see if I can keep things going, but I need to see a new setup, not just play the same setup and try to keep playing it, right? So at this point, really good trade to start the day. Let's go trade elsewhere. Let's go to the main account where I put more money to work, but really, really great day here to get it started. And I'll show you guys, of course, let me just pull the platform so I could show you guys there. Up 534. Let's keep pushing. Let's see what we can do. You guys can see it there, the daily loss limit and things like that. So let's get back to the main account here, and you guys will see the main account right now. We're up 988. So tried pushing this last week, tried to get it back above 1,000, closer to 2,000, got to 1,700, but really ready to push. Let's go, team. Let's see what we can make. All right, let's go back to the overall market here. NUWE, you were good to me. Now you're dead to me. But hey, thank you. And you know what we call that here? We call that sound that trumpet, sound that trumpet. Not a bad move at all. Ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Walk with that money bag. We're taking that money bag with us today, and we'll move away from NUWE, going into a halt today. But what a trade that was. Not a bad one at all. And I had to battle with that one, guys. That was a dangerous one out the open. Got close to my wrist there. I saw the support on the 15-minute. That's what helped me stay in it. All right, let's get back to the overall market. Let's go. We're in the main account here. Now we're taking a look to see the SPY. Let's take a look there. We're starting to come back here. Gonna watch to see what happens here on different action there, but man, nice little spike there on NUWE, and showed you guys it all. Who else is showing you guys the stop loss with the target profit there? There's nobody showing you guys that. Even go to any of the other live streams. Are they showing you that? And if they're not, might want to stick right here. Tell other traders too. There's no one showing that, guys. All right, let's keep going. Because the reason why they're not going to show that is that they're worried that you're going to hunt their orders, right? And that could be, you could do it, right? And so that's the truth. All right, let's go. Let's get it. All right, Mitch, why don't you play options? The reason why I don't play options, and I've talked about this in the past. I've even, oh, did I freeze there? Yeah, I think my camera froze up there. Do you guys hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? No. Am I losing you guys? No, it's just my camera. I don't want to lose you. I want to hold you. You see, all it took was me losing my camera to get the chat buzzing. I love you guys. All right, let's get it back up. All right, there we go. Canon kind of took a little. Yeah, I got a Canon DSLR. Let's go to it, guys. What a move there in that NUWE. All right, how'd that VSTE trade? Ooh, went down there to 7, and ooh, what a wipeout. Look, ADN got up there to 450s and then came right back down. That was a tough one, too. All right, let's go to the SPY here. SPY back there towards 571. VXX right back down there towards this area where I was a little bit like thinking that, yeah, we could go right back down there. So now I take a look at the sectors and I got to take a bet, right? At the end of the day, that's what I got to do. Energy is leading. Real estate is leading. Basic materials is leading. What's on the downside? Downside, financials and communication services. So that's what I see right now. Goldman Sachs already setting up for that trade that we talked about here. Oh, part of me is thinking Goldman Sachs, man, because I've traded this in the past and made some really good money on it. Looking at it right now to see what I could get. And the big part with Goldman Sachs is that you have to come at it really slow. That's what I've learned in the past. I've learned to come at it at like 20 shares and get up to like 80, maybe 100 shares, maybe 120 shares at the top end. But looking at it right now, it's come to 518s multiple times here, then faded off. It was a VWAP fade. Now we're in the fake out fade recovery mode. So we're trying to make a little bit of a kind of pattern right here. And you guys can see the pattern. It's made nice up 1, down 1, up 2, down 2, up 3, down 3. Now could go towards 517s and 517.50s and then make the down move. That's what I would like. Of course, it could just cut down through the 515s and then cut 514s and just go lower. That's the other option here. What I would like is a pressure towards the bears, against the bears, which is a push up here and then a fade right back down. We'll see what happens. But with options, the real question is that it's all about pricing on options. People don't understand how options work a lot of the times. And I think that that's one of the things they see. The only thing they focus on is the percentage change, but they don't focus on that essentially someone's selling you the contract, right? And then when you start playing that game, there's other variables that you're going into play, right? And I think that that's the hardest thing with options is understanding that there's other factors at play, right? There's data decay that's playing against you. There's other things. And I've taken advanced derivatives courses and really learned more into kind of understanding the Greeks and that outlook. What's really important is understanding pricing of options. Once you understand the pricing of options, you can have a little bit of an edge there, but it's very hard to price options, right? What model are you using, right? And those types of things are important because if you can catch an inefficiency in the pricing of options, that is where the money is to be made. That's where I think the strategy works. But that's a very expensive and capital intensive strategy where you need hundreds of thousands, and that's very hard, right? So options drive me nuts, too much work. Yeah, I agree. Thanks, Tim. No worries. I got it fixed at least. I got it fixed. It was just my camera went down. I heard the little doo, but I was wondering if that was my internet. Look at Goldman Sachs already cutting that 515, guys. So didn't get that bounce that I was looking for. I'm going to look for it, though, towards like, let's say in the next 20 minutes to see if I get a random bounce there. And then I'll look to get short on it. But we'll see what happens. Tesla leading some downside action, starting to bounce. It's right at VWAP. So if you think it's coming right back up, here's your bet. If you think it's coming right back down to 239, well, there's your bet, right? And so I think that's what you're looking at right now. SPY starting to make a little bit of a move to the downside. VXX looking interesting here. I might go for the VXX here. And I got to stay small first and then see if I can get the bigger move. All right, here's that first little spike there back towards the 55.80s. Let's see if we can get a quick dip here followed by the rip. So I'm looking for the quick dip versus the rip. So dip back into this area, this 560s, and then start to work back, right? So fake out and then come right back up. So the SPY comes back up here and then comes down. So I'm watching the SPY also because the SPY is interesting because that's more of what's getting hit right now. If it was technology leading the downside, I'd probably watch technology, but technology is kind of break even. So I'm watching on that. Apple is really a good sign of concern, right? If that goes deep red today, it's trying to recover, and that could tell us that we're going to get a little bit of an up move early here, and then we could get a flush down. So right there, I'm watching Apple to see what happens here, just trying to get a little bit of a read here. But VIX tried to jump back here, came back to the 55.70s, now can make the actual down cut if the SPY really cuts down, if Apple cuts down, right? I mean, I'm watching it. Apple, it's trying to take off here. So if Apple takes off, yeah, I don't want to be short on the Qs or the SPY. But watching the action right here, it's close, guys. It's close. Will we go into some more red action here? 945 brought us back. Now will we go right back to the opening action, which was down? Think we could cut lower on, and we could still get an up action, then eventually come back off this 55 on the VIX. So that's why I'm watching the SPY right here, watching both actions. If I look in the scanners, I see NUWE at 396. Am I right on that? Oh, guys, I could have made the account on this trade. Look at that, man. NUWE. I hope somebody was nailing that NUWE with me. It was a good move there. Good trade. What makes the TLT go up, Wally? Well, it really just depends, right? It's all about looking into your treasury yields, right? Look at NUWE opened up there. It opened up at like 419s, but it's right back to 360. So be careful out there, guys. What a trade, though, on today on NUWE. Can't be mad at all on that one. Let's go back to the limited account, really take a quick overall synopsis here. No working orders. Just looking at it, really good trade there. 379 on the day. Got to give myself a pat on the back with that. We'll be trying to make that account this week, guys. Let's see if we can do it. And a lot of that is not overextending myself. I've had a really good day on this account. This account, nice $400 day. I mean, you're talking 30%, 40%. So not going to push it too much. We'll see if another setup sets up. But NUWE, big push there towards 4 today. All right, we'll see what other ones kind of make a move later in the day. Staff was interesting through 3. So I'd be watching that back through 3, but that hasn't done anything. All right, SPY coming right back there. Goldman Sachs going right back down there, guys. So I had the opportunity there to play the 515s, 516s, and now it's down to 514. So we'll look to see if we get the breakdown here. Watching the SPY to see if we can make a little bit of a comeback here. Apple trying to hold in, but also turning back there, right? So you can see how it's going to make a trend line approach here. We'll see if it just dips down fast through 220s. All right, starting to see more volume coming into the VXX here. And so that's where I got to start taking my shot in a second here. It's about 20 cents risk right now. So I'm looking more at the 500 shares. Looking around at the action, guys, I'll be calling out different stocks that I see on the scanners. I did see ASPI as one of those. That's what I traded on Friday, guys. I wanted to remember the name. It was ASPI. And I traded this one pretty well, guys. Yes, on that day, that was right here, and I still have the action on the chart. So I love that I have the action. So I actually traded this up through the 8 breakout and ended up actually getting a nice trade on it. It was up there towards the 825s, 830s. Ended up stopping out around the 810s on this, but it looked really good on that push here. It was right here at around the 11. And so I ended up getting out at 810, but it went up there towards the 830s. So we'll look to see what happens on ASPI. It's back down towards 7, trying to recover 8, and it's going fast right now. That just went up there from 750 to 773. So definitely one that has a daily chart that is interesting for sure. We'll see if it can actually get through the daily high. That's a push back through this level, 850s. It's definitely playing within the range there, off the bottom towards the top. SPY there trying to recover. How's Apple? I think that's what I'm watching mainly here. Just made an up attempt here. Now I'm going to go for the VIX here, guys. I'm going to go for the VIX. Watching Apple, it's still strong. Apple's still strong. That's the hard part. That's what's keeping me off the VIX. Seeing Apple staying strong. So you see that recovery of 9 right now. I'm watching to see if it pushes towards this 222. How's NVIDIA doing today? Of course, if it added into the Dow, could make another push, but it went down out the gates. AMD struggling here. A little part of me would think so. It's trying to come back. Tesla trying to come back up at 243. I think it's so important to watch the SPY and the Qs here. There's that attempt up. There's that attempt that would probably push Goldman Sachs back up here towards like kind of the 518 spot, 517.50s. That's what I'll be looking for on Goldman Sachs return back up. And then I'd look for the market to actually go back to red. So I'll be watching here to see if we make an attempt towards the up end, 571.50s, and then turn back to the down end here. So the VXX would be the play off of the rescoop from that. Here comes Tesla back for 243. So you could be fading off of that, or you could be looking at Apple to see if it breaks out through the 222. You're going right there towards the 222 on Apple. All right, guys, let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. Selling 80% of my portfolio. What a shame. But this election is going to make things go bananas. Yeah, that's for sure. That's the hardest thing, especially with like bigger portfolios. I've asked traders about that. I've asked investors about that. How do you go through that? They just tell me they hold on to their pants. Really, there's no way of doing it, man. Investing over elections is very difficult, and you pretty much have to just see what happens. And that's the hardest thing, right? All right, Apple trying to make it through that 222 area. That's where we're seeing it right now. And you guys can see it. It's at 222.85, trying to break through that 222 spot, which could keep it riding back higher. Of course, it could fade off of this level. Of course, we got the negative news this morning about Warren Buffett selling out more Apple, but this is also a fade spot right here. So it could fade off of this level, this 222, and then come right back down. That's what I'm looking at right now, but it's going to be more dependent on if we get this kind of over explosion here in tech. So you can also take a look at the Qs. The Qs are trying to break through the 487. That's that break to the upside here. Tesla is back towards 244s. 244s look like maybe a potential short trade there on Tesla, but I'm not going to get pretty with it there. If I did, it would probably be on the smaller account, maybe take a trade off the 244s with like 30 shares, looking for the move back down to 239. But that's just the trade that I see right there available to it. Qs and SPY trying to come back, trying to make a little bit of a bullish approach here. Apple trying to get through that 222s. We'll see what happens. INTC right at the VWAP. Will this just fade off here and come right back down? It looks like a fade right here. Looks like a fade opportunity where the stock's trying to come back down here and just could fade right back towards the 225s. It's not the biggest opportunity, but you can see it there, right? It's right there. It's clear as day, right? So we'll look to see what happens there on Intel. Really nice symmetrical trade there. I could go after it with like bigger sizing, right? Like 1,000 shares. That's the only way I see it, at least trying to play out, because it's about 30 cents, about 10 cents on the risk side. SPY just topped down there. And so now the VIX is the play here. I'm going to take a shot on the VIX right now. I just took a little starter there at the 68s, willing to add a little bit as it starts to go to 55.80s. All right, we'll see what happens to it. Let's see if we can get this momentum move right back up here, and it's testing me immediately here. So just got to be careful for downside pressure here. Apple, though, did turn off that 222s. That's one thing I noticed. Risking about $100 here on the opening action here for the account here. Now I'm getting a quick dip there. Going to get a test right now. Apple trying to recover, trying to make the up move here. Be careful. There's some bullish upside right now coming into the market. Apple trying to recover there. Now getting a big test here in the VIX. Down she goes. That market is going to look good here. We'll see if it gets to pop or not. All right, guys, I just set my risk there, 55.35s. If it hits me there, it's going to take me out there. I'm going to look for recovery back up here, but it needs to be quick here. Buys trying to make that move here. It just made the move, but there's a couple of wicks on the upside. The bodies are not closing above the 571.50. That's kind of a big important level on the SPY. Apple, of course, trying to make it through that 222 again. Let's see if it actually goes and breaks towards 223s. That's good insight for the Qs overall. You can see how we rejected that 487.50 as we start to climb back, but we are still above the VWAP. So overall, still looking a little bit like a recovery day today. We'll see if it starts to wash to the downside. All right, now it should start to see more and more bottoming start to happen at 55.50s for the VIX. All right, now we're starting to see some rejection off of that Tesla 240, 244 level. So nice rejection on that Tesla there, the 244. Here comes Apple trying to go a little bit higher here. So I think that there's at least a trade there to be made there, right? I could go long on the Qs. That's one way to look at it. Stock sell or something like that on another trade here. Maybe hedge with that. But we'll see what happens here. Will the market come up? Will the market come down? I mean, it's attempting to go back up there. Could reject fast here. Definitely a battle here between the Bulls and the Bears. We'll see what happens. Will the Bears win here? I think that right now you're seeing it. It's that battle right there on the SPY. All right, how'd that NUWE do? It's right back down to 308. So as quickly as it comes up, as quickly as it comes down. Max N giving me an alert there in the radar and the scanners. So I was watching this one, the Recover 11 today. I actually had kind of an indicator to tell me, but I missed it a little bit earlier through the 11. It's already there to 12. So solar getting a big push today. Max N, nice lift there, guys, from $11.25 to $12 there. Now holding the 12 pullback. It's at the 1180s. 12 trying to recover here. Looks good off the kind of the 1170s, like kind of 1170 recovery here with the 1150s as the risk. Doesn't look too bad there on max N. The XX cutting me out there while I was looking into that max N trade there. So definitely cutting me out. But now it looks like the SPY is still kind of choppy there. Could still cut down there. So I did get cut there, 160. That's fine. The key there is keeping the risk in control. It definitely did do a little bit of an undercut. Probably would have put it down in the 35s, but pretty good. Would have got hit there on the low there. 35s being the low, went right now to 35. So we'll see if it starts to recover here. The SPY is interesting to watch there as it starts to hold. Apple could just start to push and lead through the 222s. Tesla still rejecting that 244 is still starting to turn back to the downside there. That one looks a little bit heavier. And then Intel, right? We talked about how that one looked off the 222. It went to the 222.60s, rejected that. Now could come lower here. I think you got to keep an eye on it, but it's an interesting trade there. GS now starting to come back there towards the level that I talked about. So I think that's one that I'll be watching for. As of course, I've tried to play GS in the past and have made some good trades off of it. 517 recovery seems to make sense there on GS, and then the takedown. It's right there off of it. So we'll see what happens. Got to be patient here today, guys. Don't want to be pushing too much. I did lose that 160, but that's okay. Just going to keep battling and battle back here. Tesla trying to bounce there. SPY holding on right now, making the up breakout attempt here. So there's Apple to look for the 222 move to 223, 222.30s now starting to lift. NVIDIA could start to lift there, and it starts to lift off the 137. Could go to the 138s if the market really wants to come up here now. Q's starting to push there towards 487.60. So that actually looks pretty decent there on the action. ADN back to 330s. That could get another spike there, maybe back towards 4. I'm not too sure about that one, the way it's looking. Staff down to 260s, not doing anything there. Max N holding in on that 12. Did pull back to that 1175. Now holding that 12. Could take 1225s and really start to move here. It doesn't look bad there on Max N. I need to look at solar overall. I talked about how that could be a move there today. Max N's leading the action for sure. It's up 16, 17% there. So compared to the other names, it is definitely doing well. JKS looking interesting here. Of course, it's a China play, right? And so you got to be careful with it, but looks good there. Nice little push there. Held that 28s. Now holding the 28.25s. Could go right back towards 28.75 here. So it's not a bad name here as it holds the push and looks for a little bit higher. It's not a bad trade at all here. The key though is the spread. The spread's a little wider there on this JKS. For solar, back to 214, could get a nice recovery back towards the high. GS did make it up there to the 517s for just a second. Now started to break down there. 516.80s is where it got to. So now it looks like a little bit of a breakdown. Could have it here. Just trying to get it back into above the 516s on the bid, which is hard. It's hard to trade Goldman Sachs, I'll tell you that. Would like to see 516s on the bid, but not getting it. The spread's too wide for me to get Goldman Sachs right now. So I could go looking at different trades like XLF and Bank of America. Look at Boeing with a nice little fade opportunity off that 155. SPY still starting to turn around there. So it's still kind of weak. And I think that we're going to get some kind of choppy action today. So Tesla trying to hold. I will say that, guys. So Tesla trying to hold. Tesla's trying to hold that 244 spot. Now it becomes kind of a triple top there, though, off that 244. Will Tesla recover here? It's been about 4, 5, 6 straight days of down action in Tesla. So I think that, there's ways to bet on Tesla. And yeah, this could just be the 7th red day. And that it would be interesting. I think it's crazy, but it could be just red before the election. I think you got to keep watch here. All right, guys, going to trade Tesla to the downside here. All right, taking a short there off the 243.50s, 243.50s there, 100 shares. They didn't want to go too crazy on the sizing at first. Willing to add here, but this is the trade, right? It needs to go back down below that 243s. I'm willing to add closer towards 244s because I got to hold off 245s right now. 100 shares of Tesla still is no easy feat, so all right, going to get this up approach here, and it's definitely going to test me. I could add here, but I don't want to add. I want to add if it comes back down through my level. So back down towards, let's say, 243.20s, and I will take the add. It's about $95 in risk right now. Slowing down on the market, though, for sure. And I think that this is what we can expect before the elections, guys, where you get a ramp up and then a slow down. That's where you got to be careful there. Just rejects the 244 move. So that's actually good levels there. Here comes for another 244 recovery attempt. Now going to look for a quick sweep down to 243. Good action on that first action there. Canceling my stop ad right now. There's Tesla starting to come back to my entry here. Looking decent for taking a shot here. There's the first action to the downside. Going for it, team. Shorten Tesla a little bit more there. I got 243.37s now. Got to be careful for a ramp back. Risking about 120 right now. All the way down is 843. So if it comes and breaks the low again, it's 843. So I got to understand the risk to return here. So risking about maybe like 120 here. That's a little bit more, probably like 140 for about 800 on the downside. So I'm cool with that. Just got to stay with my risk here and see what happens, right? There's that up approach. Apple's the one that I'm watching too. Apple's such a good indicator right now. I think it's holding on and showing us that the technology wants to hold on right now. Of course, it has the negative news. Apple does. Here's that up approach to shake me out here, guys. Definitely getting a big test in Tesla. That's how Tesla will do it. It'll give you a big test before it gives you the move. So got to be careful here. It's starting to hold the bullish move. Definitely pushing the risk here now. I would have got already hit if I had to stop out there. I'm seeing if Apple does a down move through this 222, because if not, it's going to probably give you that big breakout here. So getting squeezed out right now in Tesla, looking at it right here. Ooh, that's a squeeze right there. But Apple coming lower, so I'm able to hold on right now. But the test is big right now. I went too big maybe on Tesla, too fast. That happens. Apple's still holding in there. I'm watching Apple like a hawk right now, guys. Three minutes on this 5-minute candle. Looking to see if Apple breaks 222 on this 5 minutes. About to take a hit here and just call it on the main account. It goes back through this kind of 245. Got to get out, man. Squeezing here on Tesla here. So you guys could look at Tesla for a long here, especially if Apple holds the 222.50s and starts to push higher than that. So you guys know I'll never be against you if you guys go against me. It's going to definitely test me right now. Apple going for the push here. Apple's going for the breakout. There's a test there. Apple going for the breakout right there. That's a little bit scary, man. Could easily just push through this. Triggering some stops right now. Apple's pulling back and Tesla shooting off here, man. All right, get back down below that 245. There we go. There's Apple finally starting to take a pullback. It's fast. It's wicked. Way too big into Tesla today, guys. This is such a beast, and I get runned over sometimes on Tesla. The hardest thing with Tesla is being able to measure the volatility in it. Getting the squeeze right now, guys. Apple's the call right now. If Apple can go back through the 222s, that's the only way I get the trade back here. Apple's holding in right now. The SPY's still chopping around, though. That's one thing for sure. I think we're going to be a little bit in some chop zone here. Looking to see if Apple's going to break that. And I'll show you guys that right now. Here's Apple, guys. So here's Apple trying to kind of come back up, trying to 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 come back up. We'll see what happens if it approaches the 222 spot. Big breakout here. And yeah, I'm pretty screwed there. So push too much on that add. When I add, I need to put the break even. That's where I'm doing it wrong today. So always going to tell you guys when I'm doing it right and when I'm doing it wrong. In this case, I'm doing it wrong in this Tesla trade. Here comes Tesla for another break to the upside here. Even though Apple's pretty weak here, I'm watching it, but Tesla going for the breakout here. Apple right back to the high. It's probably going to get that breakout now. Man, this is a definitely too much risk here on this trade. So if I can get some of it to come back, I'll just downsize into risk here. There comes the trade coming back here. I'm going to get humbled in a second here if it doesn't come back through that 222.10s here on Apple. There's 222.14s, 222.10s here about to show up here. We'll look to see if Apple gets that hit, but man, I'm getting the squeeze on Tesla. Squeezed on Tesla, guys. Squeezed on Tesla. There's Apple back towards the 222s here. We'll look to see if it actually starts to affect the market. It's not affecting Tesla right now. I'll tell you that much. I'm still getting that move there into Apple. There's a break there. Let's see what happens in the Qs now. Will we get some pullback in the Qs? Will we get some pullback in the SPY now as the Apple starts to head down here? The VIX probably looks a little bit better there. Be watching that action there, but doesn't look good here, guys. There's Apple now starting to break a little bit further through that 222 spot, but holds that level really quickly. Q's recovering really quickly there, guys. So not happy to see that recovery there on the Q's. Was looking for a pullback back towards the VWAP, maybe a harder candle down. Not getting it there. So just got to be careful here because this is where things normally could kind of reject this 488. Back through that level, though, you start to push higher and could squeeze here. So if you're looking at trades, you're looking at trades to the upside right now. That's what makes sense. NVIDIA recovery now, starting to try to recover. I think that's what the trade is there, right? We'll see what happens if it keeps going higher now. Apple rejecting that 222s, now starting to pull back here. We'll see how much of a pullback Apple really wants to make. Apple trying to recover the 222 spot. SPY going, Q's going to the upside there. So it doesn't look good there for me, guys. It looks like I'm about to take a major hit here. The dragon's about to slay me, guys. There's Apple coming back here, guys. So we'll see what happens here. But I'm about to set my risk here. Ultimate risk, guys. I'm actually a little bit above my ultimate risk. Not should be in this area at any moment here. So definitely risking way too much on this trade today. And we'll have to review and assess, right? I mean, that's what it's all about here, guys. There I set my risk there. We'll see if the stock comes back down, but could easily get me out now. And it'd be a big hit. 635. It'd be a big red day here, guys. So definitely pushed it a little too much. And when I pushed it was when Tesla got back above this 245. The 245 should have been the out, right? Right there, get out, get back in. That's where I pushed it a little bit too much today. And sometimes you're going to make a good trade. Sometimes you're going to make a bad trade. In this case, not making the good trade as it came back through this 245. Should have got out there. Should have got out. So I definitely can look back and, hindsight 2020, but that's where I should have got out. Should have taken the hit right here. Pushed it a little bit further. Now it's definitely pressuring me and about to get me out for a little bit more of a loss there. Boom, right there. Hits me hard and now could still pull back. But definitely pushed it way too much today, guys. So that's going to be a big hit. Remember, you guys saw the account. I was up 900. Now I'm only up 190. That's how it is, guys, when you're big size. So gonna have to learn from that one and get out when needed. That's what I need to do. And I talk about this all the time, but it's very difficult to do it in a manual state, right? Of course, I could put a stop there, but the stops don't help me. The stops don't help me, right? So, hey, that's what it is there on that Tesla. Definitely pushed it. Now the SPY and the Qs looking good there still as they keep approaching the upside move. We did get a bounce back today. So we'll see if we start to get some chop and it actually comes right back. But 55's holding right now in the VXX. That's where the hold is not looking too bad off of. We'll see what happens there. VXX. Now, where it gets hard is immediately now this could reverse, right? The VXX. So I could go long the VXX here and maybe potentially make my money back. But that's not the real way to battle it right now, because I go long here and I could get the 1300 stop out today, right? So I'm just going to end it on the main account. Main account, bad day, bad execution, bad trade, and so be it, guys. So we'll go back to the limited account. We'll see what we can do there, see if we can make some money on that one today. And it's just going to be a bad day for the main account. And that happens, guys. Definitely a bad trade there on Tesla. Pushed it a little too much. Too big sizing. Tesla's one of the hardest ones I've ever had on trying to figure out the correct sizing for it, because the volatility and the ATR changes like nobody's business. For this morning, it was all the way moving like about $1.20. Then the ATR dropped down, and now it's starting to actually move a little bit faster, right? I think that one of the things we got to be watching for is how to kind of manage the risk there. Tesla was at first like a 120 risk. That's what it should have been. Too much on that one. All right, let's go back to the penny stock action. I'm going to go looking around to see where I can maybe find some trade on that. It doesn't look good out there, guys. It's one of those kind of dull days, and I kind of expect it to be. It's not making big moves in the market. It's kind of slowing down, and now we could get a little bit of some chop right back. So just be careful out there, guys. It's going to be a little bit of some back and forth action. All right, looking around, the VIXI still down. We can start seeing that start to turn. Staff, nothing going on that one. So I'm looking around at the scanners here to see what's showing up. Fun getting a little bit of a scanner approach there. So we'll see if this one actually moves. Of course, I'll be honest, guys. I don't like trading Fun, but the setups there, right? Setups are setups, but 15-minute chart looks decent there to make the run to 650. How'd Max N do? Back down to the 1140s. So Solar getting that pullback really quickly. Plug doing well today, guys. So Plug doing well. That means FCell probably doing well. So I'll be watching those names. Looking around for some trades out there. LAC getting a little bit of a lift there. Lithium Americas. More of a swing type of trade off the $4 spot, but there's some trade there to be made. Interesting swing trade here. Doesn't look too bad. Let me see if they report. Oh, looks like it got a loan. That loan will keep it alive for some time. So I don't think it's a bad stock to look at today. Starting to reclaim off that 420 spot there. We'll see what happens with this one. LAC looks good for a swing. We'll see what happens there, guys. If I take a swing at risk off of $4 there, I'm risking 30 cents for a move that could go about 70 cents higher, right? So those are the things to think about, right? It's kind of like a 2-to-1 outlook there. All right, catching up in the chat. What's going on out there, guys? Awkward breakout on LRHC. There you go. Get that money, guys. This is why we're here, Mitch. No BS on the transparency. Yeah. Sometimes it's going to be a whack your face kind of day, right? Well, guess what, guys? Today's that day. I don't hide, guys. I try to show you guys. And yeah, It sucks losing that much, right? But the truth is, hey, I pushed it. I know I pushed it. And look at Apple now come down, right? And so sometimes you're just trying to push it too early in the day, and you got to wait. You got to wait for the move. Now Apple's dropping, right? Now we're getting that move, and now the VXX could start making its move back here, right? And so we'll see what happens here on the VXX if we do get the SPY to come down, if we do get the Qs to come down, right? They're starting to work back. There's some interesting names that are doing well here. I did see Dollar Tree's doing well. See what happens on those names, but let's see what happens now. Dixie is way that I'd play this, guys. If I want to play it on the limited account, I can play the VIXI. So the VIXI's a little tighter here, but what I like about the VIXI is I feel like I can manage my risk a little bit more. All right, so there's one. So I'm going to show you guys the rule of three here, and I'm going to take a trade off of it. So 1, down 1, up 1, down 2, up 2, down 3, up 3, down 4, reversal. So at this point, shouldn't break this bottoming, this 56, right? We could have a little bit of a bottoming, but really I'm risking off kind of this 1350s, right? So that's going to be the risk here on this trade. Need to see the market kind of start to pull back. Apple, keep going lower. Those are names that I could be looking at, right? Could be watching that. We'll see what happens here. If Apple starts working its way back up, well, then I know my way not to get jumping into that. But I'm watching for it right now. So we shouldn't break that 56. I'm watching that right now to see if we're going to do reversal off of that. Maybe it's the limited type of day. We'll see what happens here. Watching the action right now, Apple starting to recover there, the 222.90s, trying to get back towards the 222s and start a recovery. Slow day, though. That's the truth, guys. SPY and Qs kind of going up, but it's not big action. It's just kind of slow move up. All right, taking a look around sector-wise, what's leading real estate and energy to the upside? So let's take a look at some of those names. XOM coming back on the day after, of course, Friday's action, and they had earnings. Their earnings weren't that bad. So Chevron trying to recover after their earnings. They were red this morning. Let's see if they go green. Early morning was red. Let's see if it starts to push to the upside. SPY now starting to top out a little bit there. So VIXI is going to be my move here, guys. I'm going to take one more trade on the limited account. Just one more trade, right? So I don't want to risk too much though, but that's the thing here. How much do I risk, right? The risk to return is going to be very important here to keep to it. Just looking for a little bit more of the first momentum, right? So I do want to take it here off the 60s, but there's a SPY starting to cut down. Apple trying to cut down there. Now we're going to it. So I took the shot there, guys. Just grabbed some there at the 62s. So I did get a little bit of an ugly fill there because as you guys can see, I mean, it didn't even hit the 62 there. I just took it off the market. That's my fault. Should have done a limit there off the 1360s. So just going to watch it really quickly here as it should get a quick move here versus a slower move. See if the SPY starts coming down and Apple starts coming down. It rejected the 221.90s move once and twice already on Apple. So looking to see if it starts to pull back a little bit further. Getting that test there. Apple's starting to try the down move here. Let's see if we get a quick move in the VIXY back to the upside. All right, in a second here, I'm going to establish my risk, which we're going to be towards that 54 spot there, getting that test there towards the spot right now. So I'm going to go to 53s and just play it out there. I'm throwing it out there at the 53s. If I get hit 90 bucks, hey, so be it. I'll tell you one thing. I definitely don't want to get stopped out and then all of a sudden back into the trade here on this one, pushing the 100 bucks here off of the green. But it needs to start to come back there. Not going to push it off of this lower bottom here. This 55 should hold here. Let's see if we can get this to start to work its way right back to the upside here with a quick spike. There's Apple on the down move, but didn't really break down. That's the only negative news there, is that it went down, but it didn't break down. It started to recover as it quickly went off of that 50 EMA. Let's see if it starts to work its way back down here towards the 220s on the SPY. We'll look to see if we go back to 571. 571 on the downside would be that kind of down concern where you're going back to the VWAP on the SPY. Back above, let's say 572.25s, and you can just start climbing on the day, guys. There's no reason why we can't end bullish on the day. And right now, it's still bullish with the action. A lot of the recovery today coming in at 9:45. Then we've been pretty much sideways since 9:45 to about 10:40 here, as the market's determining which way it's going to go. I think a lot of it will be Apple, but the SPY going to the upside there. Could get me out any moment here. So Apple's still going lower. SPY still kind of approaching the up move here, and so is the Qs. So that's what's pressuring me on the VIX here. But I don't want to put too much risk here, guys. I want to keep it small here. Don't want to risk too much. Already had a good day here. Don't want to ruin it too much, especially after the main account. Didn't want to push too much into it here. So we'll see what happens with this Qs. I think you watch it here, right? Because let's say if for any move there's a big breakout to the upside, Tesla's continuing. Apple's probably getting that move right back to the upside here. Nvidia is trying to hold the 137.60s, 137.50s. We'll look to see if it goes back to 138. Slowing it down now, but the pullback's still happening right here as we speak. Apple now towards the downside there. Nvidia now starting to pull back. SPY pulling back. Q's pulling back. Let's see if we can actually get that down move there. 488 coming back here. Let's see it. Not back through the 48.50s, and it starts to push and grind higher. Not getting it, man, and should be closer to the 60s. That would help me here. I could risk a little bit more, but it's just that choppy action today, guys. So just be careful out there, guys, with the chop. It's going to be very hard to see continuation moves on a day like today. Watching NUE off the 3 as it looks like it's trying to reload there. It's been 1, 2, 3 times towards that $3 spot there. So I'd be keeping an eye on this NUE. It's trying to come back through 3 here and get some lift. We'll see if it does. I mean, I've made some good money on this one already on the day. We'll see if we can make some little bit more here through the 3. But watching the action here to see if I can at least make some money, and then start to approach to see what happens there in the VIXY. But let's see what happens, guys, because I'm still stuck into this one right now. SRRK, one to kind of think about, guys, as this starts to fade. I've been looking at this one for a while, and I think they could start to really fade. And this is going to be kind of more of a swing trade outlook there for me on SRRK. I'm going to actually try to take some. I have some availability here. Still got BABA, but looking to also trade this thing to the downside. So I'll look at it here. I don't mind taking a shot here. This is one that I do want to take a little bit bigger sizing and then seeing what happens with it. It's going to be important. See if I can do like 300 shares or something like that. Looking for a bigger move, right? Like a couple dollars move. Let's try 400 shares. Don't have the amount. Let's do 300. Nah, I don't have the amount. That's the problem with this. I want to take more of BABA, really. That's the idea. Let's go back to the main account here, back to the VIXI. Ah, I hate when that happens, guys. So just got hit there on the VIXI on the bounce there when I'm not looking, when I'm trying to look at a different name there. But there it is, guys. VIXI down. Took some off there off the limited account. Now I can't come after that NUWE because I spent that money, but it looks good. And that's the problem. $3 right now looks good there on NUWE. Look to see if it makes another spike there towards the 330s and a little bit higher. It's not a bad looking name, but I've used my ammo for today, guys. Good day in the limited account, still up 259, but not going to push it further than that. Trying to keep myself within range there to get closer and closer to getting that account. A little part of me wants to take this trade right here off the $3 spot there, but I don't have any ammo anymore. So we'll see what happens on NUWE. Trust me, I want to go to the main account and just swing it, right? Just take save. Forget it. Forget it. Forget that you're down almost 800 on the day. Just take that long. Well, can't do it. Got to respect myself, guys. Got to respect the rules that I kind of stay with. And sometimes that means don't trade. All right, guys, let's keep looking around out there. How we doing out there, traders? It was an awesome day to begin it. Now it's been a little bit tougher. So we'll continue to watch to see what else is out there, guys. But staying in the battle right now, just how it is. See what we can do and what we can come up with, what else we can do here. But definitely going to be looking to see what happens. There's 309 now, 310 there on NUE. So it looked like a good trade there. 313. I'd be up about $100 there, risking off the kind of the 290, 280 spot there. So we'll see what happens if this one really gets going. NUE has been a good one for me today. I've made some good money on it. Definitely the chop out there. It came into the market really quickly, guys. It was like first opening action and then just chop. ADN rejecting that move to go higher, so that never got started. And VSTE never actually even made an attempt to go higher. All right, guys, I'm seeing DJT getting the move a little bit there. So definitely seeing that move a little bit. You guys can see it, 30.72 recovering. This has been hit hard. Going to look for a little bit of recovery action there. 30.70s trying to hold in there. Will it make the move back towards the 15-minute high? There's a resistance right around 31. If it can get to that 31 and start to push through that, it can really start to move here. So we'll see if it really makes a move there. 30.70s holding in right now off that 30.50 spot. We'll look to see if it pulls back to that 30.50 spot, but looking good on DJT. I want to trade. Can't trade right now, guys. Can't trade right now. It's so hard. This is the hardest part. I'll tell you right now, guys. I want to trade, but bad moves on Tesla cost me. And so sometimes they're going to make and think that you need to sit on the sideline, right? Tilray, do you like the breakout trader? Well, the key there is this is not about Tilray. This is all about what's going on right now in Florida as they're going for what? Amendment 3, right? Amendment 3 would make legalized cannabis in Florida. So I think Tilray and CGC are bouncing off of this momentum. And so what you look at also the ETF that gives you exposure to the best one here. right? The best one here would be what? TrueLeave. TrueLeave is the one that actually did a lot of the lobbying to even get this amendment in, right? So right now you're seeing a lot of stocks make a lift here. You're seeing a lot of cannabis stocks move, a lot of this based on the situation there. And of course, the outlook that both candidates are pretty much supporting this, right? Even Trump said that he would support Amendment 3. So that was a good sign there for cannabis, as majority of the times Trump has stayed off of cannabis and not wanting to talk about it. So I think that now you kind of keep an eye on it to see what happens here, right? You guys can definitely kind of watch to see the action in different names today. But I think you're definitely seeing some good action in some of these cannabis names today. So we'll see what happens there. Tilray, let's see what happens on Tilray. Tilray up there to 180. CGC up there to 566. TrueLeave is TR and TrueLeave TCNNF. This is going to be the best one, and there's a reason why it's already taken off since September, right? There's a reason why, guys. It's that this is the one that's going to get the lift if Florida's goes through, and so this is a nice cup and handle approach on TrueLeave, so you guys can see the cup and handle. So this one actually looks interesting for a swing trade going into the results that come on Tuesday, and so that's why people are trading this. If the results go well, TrueLeave can be way higher. If the results go bad, TrueLeave could take a big hit. So the question is, was it already priced in though? And those are things you need to be thinking about. I don't think it is priced in, but it's something to look at, right? There's definitely going to be something to think about. The problem is with TrueLeaves is that it's OTC. So how can you trade it? Well, you have to trade it with something that has exposure to the OTC, which would be more your MSOS. But it's interesting, guys. What's up out there, guys? Definitely smashing it up. And mobile trading is available. Guys, I use it all the time to get out of positions. I don't use it so much to get into positions, but there's nothing wrong with taking a look at it. Good morning, Jan. How you doing? You're going to trade the futures action in the election? That's going to be something else. All right, NUWE holding that $3 spot there. Held the pullback now. We'll see if it actually makes the push higher here. Now to 306. Will it go back to 3? If it even hits 3 now, I wouldn't necessarily like it. I wouldn't like it to hit 3 at all. Not even 299. I'd like to hold here the 90 MA and really push. If it's going to make the move, it's going to be quick. We'll see what happens there. Am seeing now Apple holding in there. So if anything, it looks like an upside move is within there. And so the Qs are now looking like they're coming right back to the upside. So is the SPY, and this could help Tesla continue driving in the direction. Glad I got out of that because I would have cost myself even more of a loss. Got to know when the get-in's good. The get-in was good way early in Tesla to the downside, and definitely got ran over today by the dragon. The dragon that is Tesla. Elon said, ejectocito, cuz you want to short me? Elon, you got me today. All right, we'll see what else is out there. Back there towards almost 248s now and continuing is Tesla. All right, looking around to see what else is making a move here in the last kind of minutes here. I am starting to see some other stocks make a push here. So JTAI, but that's nothing that we want to look at. CGC, of course, making a move. We talked about that. That's more of your cannabis situation and what's going on there. I'm seeing staff move a little bit, but it's not much. So staff starting to lift there, but it needs to get a big breakout through 3. We'll see if it does that, but it doesn't make me feel confident. All right, guys, it's 10:50 in a second here. I'll be getting out of here as I got to go do some other work here and definitely need to get to some videos before the open tomorrow. So got to do some stuff here. We'll see what happens. SRRK is another one that I'm looking at potentially shorting for a longer term position, but hanging in there, guys. We'll see if China can come back. I talked about that situation. I'll be watching for that. FXI still looking good on the day. So we'll look to see if China can make a big push here and go back to the upside, right? Doesn't look too bad at all. All right, what's up? What's up? Looks like I'm getting Tim to join in here. Tim, you want to join in? What's up? What's up, man? All right, looking around. Trying to see what we got here for the open. Pulling back now, guys. It just seems like some back and forth trappy action now, guys. So I think that's going to do it for us at least. It's 10:51. There's not much going on here. A little bit of some back and forth action, but all right, guys. So we'll do it for us here. Definitely looking around to see if there's any of these smaller names making a little bit of a lift there. GSAT is one that I'll call out there. That's starting to make the move now. It's up towards 170. It was down towards like 140s earlier. And starting to make the move now. This isn't a monstrous move, but it's continuing and it's being at least symmetrical. It's just holding off the 90 EMA and just continuing to climb here is GSAT. NUWE right back down below 3. Now it looks like it's kind of breaking down right off that 290s. We'll look to see if it makes a recovery, but doesn't look the best now. Staff coming for that 3 really quickly here, guys. So this is the one that I had an alert there ready for 3s. It's coming back fast. Look to see if it really gets going. Definitely got a little bit of volume there, and I started to see it. There's 3, guys, really quickly here coming into play. Let's see if it really wants to make a spike, come back here towards $4, maybe potentially 5 on the action there, but it's trying to get back to the 3. Let's see if it can do it. ADN also holding in there. Eventually, this one could push off of the 15-minute 9 EMA back through 350s, going towards 426. No reason why this one can't reload. We'll see if it does get the reload, though. Drug popping. Man, been focusing on drug for a while now. It hasn't moved in a long time here. This one could get me trading again. Good Lord. Drug trying to get the move going there. There on the daily, it looks like it's trying to get above the 52. This thing's been a hard trader. Remember, I traded this thing on the short side overnight, made some money, but holding in off the 52.50s right now. The big thing is the spread on this one, guys. The spread is massive on drug. Massive. Staff 302s went to 310, I think 307s, and then pulled right back. It's trying to reload on the 290s. Hold 3. Let's see if it holds the 290s, comes right back up there, or will it go back down towards the 270s? Here's 296 now, 297, 3 trying to come back here. You can see the 299 there right here coming into play now. From there, it'll be the 308s that could come running into 299s available to it here. Let's see it. Here comes 3. Let's see if it gets that 3 look. Struggling there, I'll tell you that much. Struggling to get the size that's needed there. Here comes a little pullback there. Let's see if it gets that red candle or does it go green here. Gave you that red look for a second. Now let's see if it just rips through 3. Red candle look here towards the 290s. 290s got a hold there for me. I'm watching that action. All right, guys, 10:55. That's probably going to do it here. Well, I just wanted to watch staff there. Not going to trade it there as I'm done for the day. Definitely a little bit of a mixed day, right? I mean, negative day in Tesla for sure. Pushed it way too much. Did good on that VIX trade, the first one, 157. Should have took the hit there. Should have took another hit there and written down 300, and then could have maybe taken one more trade. But today is one of those days where I learned there on Tesla. Took too much, too size, too big. And then we take a look here at the limited account. Took a little bit of a hit there at the end at 115, but overall doing pretty good on this account. Going to keep pushing it. These are kind of more of the penny stocks, right? This was the first kind of different trade that I took there, which was that VIXY, and then paid the price. I'm going to keep looking at some of these pennies for some of these trades. Trades like this, like NUE off 3, Staff off 3, right? Those are names that I'd be looking at. ADN is another one that I'd be watching here towards the afternoon to see what happens there. If I can get a spike back through like 370s, this is definitely one to watch there. We'll see what happens with the VSTE and other names. Market continuing to climb, but slowing down, and they could turn around in an instant here. So that's one thing I am seeing. I am seeing a little bit of a turnaround. So we could have like a mixed day where we have red, then we have green, then we have red, then we have green, then we have red, and we're moving back and forth, right? So just be careful out there, guys. That's going to do it for me. It is how it is. I think I will trade off the results. Let's stay patient and wait for the nice core levels to get broken. I agree. You got to be patient sometimes. If not, you ain't getting paid, right? All right. Deucey, just give me 1 second here. Tim, are you trying to get in here? Give me a thumbs up if you're trying to get in. All right, Tim's trying to get in here, guys. So let's go ahead. Let's give him the floor for just a second. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. What's up, Tim? What are you going to bring in here? Ooh, can't hear you. Can't hear you, my friend. Can't hear you. We're on the.
There we go.
There we go. What's up?
Running around with some meetings all morning. I did just take a short on Dollar Tree. It had a nice pop, but it looks like it's dropping. The rest I'm still feeling out, but yeah. So just wanted to share. Yeah, on the topic of central banks and currencies, we will be having a discussion on our Discord this afternoon. So I'm actually going to pull up right around lunchtime, 1 p.m. or so Eastern. I am going to be pulling up some charts of currencies and commodities and stuff, do a little sample trading of those, and then talk about how we can trade that on Trade the Pool. So I know there was a question about options, for example. We've got the boot camp going on this week. Check that out at the Fivers. If you haven't, they're going to talk about Forex trading, but we'll play around with that a little bit as well. So that's good knowledge to have as we go into FOMC on Wednesday.
Yeah, staff got him going there, guys. And yeah, definitely keep up with all the things that we do, right? We got so much for you guys. And if you're not in the Discord, you're missing out. Ask questions, guys. That's what it's all about, right? If you guys have any questions on events or anything coming up, the Discord is going to be the fastest place to get an answer, right? That's a nice active community. And you're not going to get only an answer from Tim. You'll get an answer from many other traders out there. I'm seeing traders talk about different trades out there, right? Talking about also about learning, right? Because the truth is that we're all trying to get learning lessons and get towards the success that we all need. I did see even just recently, I was watching some trader there that was really close to making it and then ran into a couple of problems, right? Pushing it, right? We all need to learn from each other. Try to take the strengths and weaknesses, right? Maybe it's a strength that you attach to. Make it your strength, or add it to your strength already. And then of course, when we make errors, because every trader makes errors. I don't care who you are. Unless you're a computer, you make errors. And even computers make errors, right? So then that's when I'll tell you guys, hey, learn from your mistakes. Stop viewing them as a negative and start viewing them as positive as your learning lesson, right? Find something out of that, gain something, and then try to be disciplined enough to actually put that into action, right? Because learning lessons always happen. And we talk about these every single day on this show, but it's how you apply them that matters, right? Can we go and bring them to our process and make that money? I know Tim's
like in the first Nolan Batman movie, right? Where he says, or she's saying like, it's what you do with it. It's what you do with your beliefs that matters, right? So
1000%, man, because we can all we can all see the lesson there. Will we actually learn it and apply it? So remember that discipline is not something that's given. It's a repeated action that we need to execute on. So it's not something that you just are disciplined, right? You actually move in and out of discipline. And what we want to be is just more in that area where we're being disciplined, right? We're always going to run into a situation where it just like knocks us off, right? Just like life does, right? All of a sudden, I don't know, a pipe breaks, right? Things like that, right? You don't know what's going to happen. The only thing
for example,
yeah, Tim liked that one because you know how I went through that situation. But that's how life goes, man. It's going to throw you curveballs. It's how can you deal with that and then bounce back? Deal with the down waves, ride those up waves. And when you're riding that up wave, don't be afraid of hitting the gas pedal, man. Right? You
and
guys
trading is one of those
limited.
Yeah,
today.
Trading is one of those great things too, where, you know, and this goes to that question about options a little bit, because options have the time decay in them, right?
Yeah.
So you can be in a situation where things will, you know, sitting still, you're not sitting still, right? Like it has to be moving the way you thought, at least if you're long options. But other than that, like, especially if you're doing shares, especially if you're in a day trading thing on Trade the Pool, right? As long as if you close out, you know, as long as you keep from taking too big a hit, there's always the next day. There's always the next day. And so that's what Michael put in the newsletter this week too. You know, don't go nuts chasing one thing. And I think if you sense yourself being undisciplined, like, at least have the discipline to recognize that.
Definitely, guys. Check out our funded interviews, of course, to get more from information like this. Nice tips always in those interviews, right? So what I do when I watch those videos, the only thing I'm thinking about is what's a strength of this trader? What's a weakness? Maybe I can learn. We'll see you guys back like always, and check them out. They're on our playlist right there on our YouTube if you haven't checked them out before. We'll see you guys back tomorrow. Smash the like.